I've been talking about Mythic Plus. I've been talking about how this season I haven't really been enjoying it, right? It's been a down season. Season 3 of Dragonflight, it was a great season, up season. Blizzard's trying. They're making a lot of changes in the upcoming Mythic Plus season for Season 2 of The War Within. We already know this. Changes to affixes, changes to how timers work, changes to how keys deplete plus 12 and above. So they're trying. They're trying. We know they've already implemented a bunch of stuff. Raid testing and dungeon testing has begun on the PTR. So let's see what's going on here. Major Mythic Plus dungeon changes coming in 11.1. New mount, new rewards, and more here from Dalaran Gaming. Let's check this video out and see what kind of changes are coming for Mythic Plus.
Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Zal, and I first want to start off with...
Hello guys,
how's it going? My name is Zal, and over the past few weeks, there have been a lot of data mining and information coming out regarding the next major update for the War Within expansion, Season 2 of the Undermined patch. With the patch 11.1 bringing in so many new features, from brand new class adjustments, massive big reworks, a brand new zone, more movement systems, and big adjustments to end-game content of that season, including delves,
that's the new arena. Yeah, that's the new. I'm glad it's on PvP. PvP, I don't do it, but I am glad that some of the PvP content is coming in because I feel bad for PvP players. I feel like they always get neglected.
Content of that season, including delves, raids, dungeons, and PvP. And when it comes to Mythic Plus in particular, there have been a lot of data mining as of recently, with them doing major reworks as to how some of these dungeons will function, but also updating and upgrading the rewards and the gearing opportunities within this Season 2 content, which will hopefully give players a little bit more reason as to why they'd want to jump back into Mythic Plus for the Season 2 of the War Within. With many players especially being very intimidated by some of the dungeons and the whole dungeon list of Season 2, with them looking to try to soften it as best as possible. But hopefully we'll be able to test some of those changes, specifically when it comes to the PTR realms, hopefully with 11.1 making PTR very soon.
Right. And with the testing, Blizzard already said in a blue post that they are very much, they changed up how testing is going to work because they want to be able to act on feedback more quickly and then get feedback on those changes that they made. So Blizzard already came out and said we're going to be, doing dungeon testing more rapidly. We want you to get in there and do it quickly, and we want to see what your feedback is so we can implement changes more quickly before 11.1 comes out. Now, the timeline for this, as I said before, Turbulent Timeways ends February 25th. That's the date that I think we're going to be getting this patch. So they got about a month and a half-ish to get all this stuff set.
Obviously, if you guys want to see more regular updates for the War Within expansion, especially like patch 11.1, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. Now, there's a number of things that we could talk about when it comes to Season 2, but I first want to start out with some of the rewards, which are going through a bit of a revamp. With every single expansion so far during this season, you have basically the same mount rewards for that expansion. During Shadowlands, we had the Deathwalker, which had a variety of them. They did give them just a few new colors depending on the season, but all of them were pretty samey.
Yeah,
Dragonflight wasn't all that different. Was getting a different type of Armoredon. They were a little bit different.
I like the Armoredon mount, but I'll still never understand why they gave us a ground mount in Dragonflight. They'll never make sense to me. Like, who made that decision? Why did we get a ground mount in the expansion that literally gave us dragon riding? But I do use my Infinite Armoredon. I do like that one. I actually think it's pretty cool looking mount.
Different,
it's one of my favorites.
The green Dragonflight version, which is more leafy, the blue one, which is more time-wimey, the fiery one, the frost one. But with the Diamond Mech Suit, a lot of players expected for us just to get 4 or 3 types of, however many seasons we're going to have, different types of mech suits for us to earn during Mythic Plus in this expansion. However, Season 2 War Within is switching it up a little bit, and it's going to be more thematic by the looks of things. The Diamond Suit was available because it was a first season that had to do with the Dornagal doors, but this time around, with us going into the Undermined, this one is more Goblin themed. It's kind of like a mechanical spider type of a mount we've had in the past, but
this is much better.
It being thematic to the Goblin type.
Yeah, I was very happy to see this. This mount actually looks pretty cool. Not that this first Season 1 mount wasn't cool, the Diamond Mech. It was cool. But I thought we were literally just going to get iterations on that like we've had the last 2 expansions every single season. To see this was nice and refreshing. It means that we're going to get something cool, something thematic every single season. This is perfectly Goblin themed. I mean, it's very obviously Goblin, and I'm excited to get this if I can get carried to it, yeah. Draz Pally killed the double question mark Zekvir in stream yesterday, Sam. That's great. That's great. Well, he doesn't have the title Man of the People like me. I didn't kill him because I didn't want to show off, That's why.
Patch with the Goblin type of season, I think is a very, very nice touch and gives players even more of a reason to dive into a brand new season since there's a whole new mount for you to collect, not just the recolor of the first season's mount. As for the actual bigger...
Oh my god, now I can't unsee it. It does look like a defleshed skull. Oh shit, that is creepy.
As for the actual big rewards that a lot of people do for Mythic Plus, which is gear, the gearing is going to stay about roughly the same, where you get champion track gear starting at a +2 and up, Mythic Plus Keystones, hero track gear from +7, so nothing necessarily new there, and you still get Gilded Crest from 8 and above, with +10s awarding you weekly Mythic track items for you to collect from your Great Vault, which is all good, and it's pretty standard from season to season. However, this time around, though, we are going to be getting a bit of a leg up when it comes to tier sets, with the Boba expansion awarding a Season Spelunker Supreme achievement for every season, which is like the seasonal mastery achievement, where you either get 1600 in PvP, AOTC for a new raid tier, so this will be, instead of the Queen Ansoric, it'll be for Season 2 set up for the Undermined raid, or getting KSM for that season. Normally we get an item that converts into a token, that converts into a tier set, but they're kind of simplifying this a little bit by giving us an extra charge on our Catalyst, which means technically during the very first week of the new expansion, you could be using 2 charges of Catalyst immediately on a brand new character.
Yeah, that's great.
Not saying that getting KSM or AOTC is going to be really easy week 1, but bringing in all the gear from Season 1 into Season 2 usually makes the start of that season a little bit easier as players do some early pushes during the very first weeks of that content update.
Yeah, this is a good change. It's good. You want everyone to get tier set as quickly as possible, not like super fast, but you don't want anybody to be left behind because of basically RNG. So this, of course, is another way to kind of get rid of that. You get yourself your tier set, even if you have the shittiest loot luck in the world. Eventually, you're going to get it, and you're going to get it more quickly now.
But it does mean that PvPers and M pluses in particular should at least get an extra charge of the Catalyst a little bit sooner than usual. And especially if you have a couple of pieces of hero track gear that you can get from M plus, that could potentially be some hero track tier set pieces for you to utilize pretty early on, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Outside of this, there's also going to be the return of the Dinar's currency for Season 2 raid tier, which is mostly there to help raiders catch up, but Mythic Plusers can also utilize it, as you'll basically, essentially, you'll be able to buy a single piece of raid gear guaranteed with a brand new season's vendor. Very similar to the final seasons of expansions like Dragonflight and Shadowlands, the Dinar's vendor was essentially, or I guess the currency wasn't always called the Dinars, but that Dinar's type of vendor allowed you to purchase guaranteed raid pieces from the current raid tier, and those items could be upgraded all the way to Mythic 6 out of 6 quality. And the token is going to be obtained through a new renown track that will be available during Season 2 raid tier, which I guess will advance every few weeks, or every week in fact. We'll get a little more information how all that functions in terms of details once 11.1 PTR is active. But this new renown track is essentially how we'll be able to catch up for the raid season. Right,
yeah, this renown track, I don't know if he's doing a good job of explaining it, but I thought it was an amazing thing. So the renown track is essentially an ongoing buff. So if you remember the basically, what's it called? The damn raid that we're doing now. Whatever the fuck, Queen Ansoric shit, right? If you kept going in there and you kept killing a certain amount of bosses every week, I forgot how many bosses it was, you would get a buff, right? You turn in the quest and you get a little buff. It was like a 3% buff every single week that you went in and you did that shit. Yeah, my brain's not working. It's too damn early in the morning. Narubar Palace. Alzheimer's strikes again. Okay, it's fucking 5 in the morning here, 5:39. Okay, my coffee hasn't sank into my brain yet. So yeah, you get the buff every single week. Now, that was a good thing, and that was part of what Ian said, in that they don't want to go back to just nerfing the shit out of raids so people can finish them. Instead, they want to passively continue to buff players to get stronger so they can finish the raids. So this is the way they want to do it. Is basically now, it's no longer kill a certain amount of bosses, turn in the quest, get a little bit of buff. Instead, there is a specific renown track for the raid. And as you go through the raid and progress through the raid every single week, you will continue to advance on that renown track. And as you advance on that renown track, you will become more buffed in the raid. So this is a continual buff that continues to get stronger. The more you raid, the stronger you get. The stronger you get, the easier the raid becomes. That's how they want to do it. Yeah, and excuses. Yeah, my Alzheimer's is pretty damn bad these days. I'm an old timers.
And eventually,
Old-timers,
with that new
Alzheimer's.
renowned
But I
track
think it's
from
a
the
great
raid,
addition.
you'll also be able to get a token to purchase a guaranteed piece of raid gear, which for
Also
Mythic
great.
Plusers could be massive. No longer should you run into a situation where, let's say, you needed a certain trinket for your class to even operate, like the Spy Master's Web, and no matter how many times you do that raid on normal or heroic, you would just get 0 luck getting that one desired coveted item. So now you'll be able to purchase those mandatory must-have items from the raid, and you'll be able to get up to 2 potentially of these items based on early data mining. You should be able to get 2 tokens to buy 2 pieces of gear over a period of time.
That's
so
right.
potentially up to 2 of your best in slot pieces can be bought from the newest raid in Season 2 as a guarantee for your end of season pushes within Mythic Plus content, which is not only going to be great for your main to make sure that you get best in the best gear and best in slots available, but also is a fantastic bit of catch up for all of your alts as well.
For sure.
Another thing to look forward in Season 2 is the fact that class compositions are probably going to change by quite a bit. So
Yeah.
far, augmentation evokers have been
That's the biggest one. Augmentation Evoker getting changed up a lot. I think they can no longer truly buff tanks or healers anymore. So they're trying to change the meta. They went with anti-meta changes, which sometimes is bad choice. Like if you're just trying to kill the meta, that's not maybe the best way to change and iterate on the game, but they are kind of doing that. And then not only did that happen, there are a ton of class changes coming in this patch. We've gone through a bunch of them, but I don't think people realize your classes are going to flip-flop like crazy. We're going to look at DPS charts probably later this week. It's going to be huge in terms of changes.
very, very popular pick ever since they got introduced during the 2nd season of Dragonflight, and they've been a top competitive choice since then. And they continue to be a top competitive choice right now in War Within Season 1, but in Season 2 they've been adjusted to no longer buff tanks or healers, which is going to change their dynamic and their viability likely in Mythic Plus as well. This is interesting because it now opens up an opportunity potentially for other classes to shine, since augmentation no longer makes tanks tankier and healers more healy.
Yeah, that's a big change. And God, man, I just wish they would freaking rebuff tanks. Can they do that? Can we make tanks great again? Why the fuck do tanks are so squishy right now? Why are we so damn squishy? It sucks. This is the worst place tanking's been in a long time. And now they're going to take away the augmentation buffs to tanks. I'm worried. I'm worried about tanking, guys. I'll be honest. I play Hunter. Don't worry, McThuggan. I think Hunters are in a decent spot. I don't think Hunters have been in a bad spot for a little while in this expansion. They recently got buffed pretty good. I think they'll still be pretty damn viable. I think they're in a good spot. Answer likes to come to the chat, yeah, and laugh at Sam. True, like most of you guys, bunch of degenerates.
It's still very possible that Aug will remain a
most tanks are doing fine. It's just you.
Forward, and may even still maintain the crown and the
say.
throne for Season 2. But at the very least, for many other players, this does open up an opportunity for other classes to shine and potentially to mix up the meta by quite a bit, which is always a very, very exciting. Also in Season 2, Keystones at some point will stop to deplete with a new account-wide achievement, War Within Keystone Legend for Season 2, a brand new achievement with a new reward. To be able to obtain this achievement, you need to attain M+ rating of 2850, which right now seems to be potentially not a set in stone number, but rather something that is placed for now. But this number and this rating score may change based on community feedback. The reward for the achievement is, whenever you fail to clear a Mythic Plus dungeon on time, you will no longer reduce that Keystone.
Oh yeah, so this is the Keystone plus 12. So you get a Keystone above plus 12 and you hit that rating, your Keystone will no longer deplete below a plus 12. Now, if you want to deplete it manually, you could still do that, but this will basically create a floor of a plus 12 key that you'll no longer drop below, which is good for people who... There's some people who play this game, all they do is push keys. That's like literally what they get in and do. They just come in and go balls deep on keys and just try to see how high they can push their key. This is a nice little thing for them to basically not have to deal with, depletions and the toxicity that'll come with their plus 12 key dropping too much. They won't have to deal with that anymore.
Below plus 12 for the rest of the season. So basically, Keystones no longer decay. This decay no longer works whenever you fail to time a key, but also when it comes to your Great Vault, you no longer have it downgraded if you fail to time a key either. You'll still be able to manually lower your Keystones if you need to for some reason, but you will no longer have your Keystones for your main or your alts decay at all. This would be fantastic for gear and alts because ideally you want to get a Keystone timed.
I didn't realize this is a count-wide thing. It's an alts thing too? Damn.
You get more crests that way. Not timing the key is not nearly as punishing because you don't lose out on as many crests, but having to re-up that key back up. Let's say you had an 8 that you were spamming for Gilded Crest, having it lower down back to 7 was very, very unfortunate because then you have...
That's good. Yeah, that's pretty damn good for alts. What? Sam grew a neck beard trying to get better at WoW, didn't work. What the fuck? Why? I'm trying to inform you guys on Mythic Plus and the changes coming to 11.1. Why every time I look at chat, I'm getting insulted? What is going on? Why is chat so angry? Chat's always angry. I got a very angry chat, very toxic chat. I don't know. I built a very toxic community here. It's wonderful.
Have to raise it all the way back up if something went wrong with one of your dungeons. So not having to worry about it for your ults is going to be fantastic. Hopefully they'll adjust and rework the Mythic Plus rating required for this requirement in order to make it potentially more available for more players, because in fact a lot of players in the community don't enjoy the fact that the keystones get lowered whenever you can't time a dungeon. They feel like it's a little too punishing, and hopefully they can potentially open up this feature for a lot more players, not just the top 2 competitors of the Mythic Plus season. As for additional changes for season 2 of Mythic Plus, we know that we're going to be getting a whole new Mythic Plus dungeon roster with dungeons such as Dark Flame Cleft, The Rookery, Cinderbri Meadery, and a fan favorite of Priory of the Sacred Flame.
I'm so happy to see Priory of the Sacred Flame. What's it called? One of the ones that I'm actually fine with is the Maldraxxus dungeon that we're getting. I think, what's it called? He'll say it in a second. But a lot of people didn't like it, and I actually like that dungeon. I thought that was a pretty fun dungeon to tank because it was pretty straightforward.
Being available
I like this dungeon pool
season,
coming up.
But also a brand new dungeon called Operation Floodgate will be joining that season. This is a brand new instance that will be added as of the patch 11.1. So it's going to be exciting to see some of the different mechanics and some of the different rewards that will be offered with that instance. And it's actually, I think, the first time we've seen 5 of expansion-specific dungeons being added as part of the season, instead of 4 expansion and 4 out. However, we still will be getting out of expansion dungeons as well, with the Motherlode being part of the list, as well as a second half of Operation Mechagon workshop specifically, as well as the Shadowlands dungeon Theater of Pain, which I feel like doesn't fit the Goblin aesthetic and the Goblin themes of Season 2 at all. However, many of those older dungeons from Workshop, Motherlode, and Theater of Pain are going through a number of changes, and there've been a lot of data mining as of recently, and I cannot wait to test out these instances on the PTR as soon as we have them available. But basically, they're trying to reduce many of the different tank busters in that dungeon, as many of the tank-specific mechanics are being nerfed by quite a bit.
They should be, because the last time these dungeons were live, tanks were actually tanks. Yeah, believe it or not, tanks used to be able to survive getting hit by things back then. So if they don't nerf a lot of these hits that used to exist back then to the more squishy version that now exists of tanks, basically, we got pussified a long time ago, or should I say in this expansion. If they don't change how the tanking mechanics work, we're just going to get destroyed. Because this is back when tanks were men. That's when these dungeons were being run. Now, we're like little, little pansy bitches who need healers constantly up our assholes to keep us alive. So, okay, Pussykiss, yeah, my brother-in-law's in chat, probably. It's definitely something that they're going to have to work on, so I'm glad that they realized that and they're making those changes ahead of time. I checked stuff on the PTR. There are some crazy trinkets. I love it. The season's going to be lit. Yeah, there are crazy trinkets, and a lot of, if you didn't see, I reviewed them just the other day, cantrip items. So items with special abilities. There's a lot of them in this raid and everything coming up. So, yeah, there's going to be really cool goblin-style abilities, a lot of cool explosives and extra things going off on people. So, yeah, I'm excited about the gearing and everything that's going to happen in this patch.
Many of the deadliest casts in those instances, as well as some of the most annoying spells,
just
have
bend
also
over,
been nerfed as
right,
well.
Achilles.
Primarily their damage, the cast time of those spells, which being a little bit longer, so it's easier to interrupt. Some of those spells no longer stun players or apply any other variety of effects, just damage, which is super, super nice. Maybe they don't even crowd control players anymore. There have been some adjustments there, or potentially abilities that do AoE damage will only hit 3 players instead of 5. And some abilities don't even do damage, but instead will just slow targets down. Like the first boss of Mechagon Workshop in particular does have a frontal damage, but the AoE raid-wide group-wide damage no longer exists, just applies at 20% slow, at least right now, based on early data mining. So there's a lot of reworks being done specifically. However, there's also been a major changes as well. Like the first boss is kind of like a council fight for Theater of Pain. They've now linked all these bosses because previously you would try to nuke down one of the casters as soon as possible. Usually Sethel, their curse, and they would have the
for sure.
And
Kill the caster.
This was a very front-loaded dungeon, but they're trying to adjust them where they're not as front-loaded, But if you kill one of these council members before others, it actually buffs all the other bosses. Very similar to the Dungeon of Stone Vault, where one of these bosses dies, it actually amplifies the others, so you kind of want to be a little bit more even with you killing them, both of them. So they're doing the same thing with the Theater of Pain.
Great, it's going to require more group coordination, and we all know groups don't coordinate very well. That's just wow.
Where you kind of want to even out these bosses,
that kind of
but
sucks.
a lot of the mechanics are no longer
That's
as
a shitty
impactful
change.
as they were, so you're not trying to DPS race them down as quickly as possible.
Shit.
It's in the same adjustment over in the Tussle Tongs fight, where there's 2 bosses for you to interact with No Mercy receiving a variety of nerfs, especially in the AoE damage, but now you kind of want to even out both of these bosses as best as you can, because if one of them dies, the other one goes into a bit of an overdrive. So there's a lot of adjustments being made right now, but I'm sure there's going to be even more.
I don't like those changes. I don't like them. I don't want to have to fucking worry about DPSing everything down together. I just want the DPS to do what they do best, and that's mindlessly parse and face roll on their keyboards. Now we got to fucking worry about health going down at the same time. Shit.
Based on player feedback, because right now those seasonal dungeons do seem to be a little bit too rough. First impression by many players have been that these are probably going to be very, very challenging for the new season. So hopefully a lot of this will be adjusted so it's a bit more manageable and a lot more puggable, and where the teamwork coordination, especially for some of the lower dungeons.
Yeah, that's not good. I don't want to hear that it's going to be super challenging. That's the problem with Mythic Plus right now. It is overly challenging. It is. And some people are going to just say, oh, Sam, get better, you bitch. No. No, you know why a lot of people like Season 3 of Dragonflight? Because it wasn't overly challenging. Because it was literally, if you want a challenge, push your key higher. But otherwise, you were just in there doing the dungeon. Yes, it was a little bit hard. Yes, it required some concentration. But it didn't require this, this novel of fucking knowledge and understanding and 36 mechanics that happened on a random trash pull. That's not how it was. It was much better, much easier. If somebody wants to deal with 37 mechanics, they can go do something else called raiding. Okay, that's not what I want to see in Mythic Plus. A Mythic Plus to me is supposed to be this really fun dash to the finish. You're blasting shit down, you're AoEing everything, you're going through it quickly, pull after pull. You know, it's more of a what's it called? It feels more of like a elevated race rather than a mechanic intensive thing like raiding is. At least that's what it's supposed to be to me. Beardless Sam, this is an odd more. I'm not beardless. It's just like a little bit of a shadow now. But yeah, my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, told me put your beard back on, Dad, yesterday. So she didn't like it either. You're brute forcing again, Sam. It's what I want though. It's what I want. That's why I miss being a powerful tank. I miss just kind of brute forcing my way through things. And now it's like you got to be artsy fartsy and understand everything perfectly to get through anything. It's too much.
It's not nearly as high as many players expect them to be as of this moment. But as of right now, this is everything that we have so far regarding Season 2 content in the patch 11.1, available for testing on PTR, hopefully very, very soon. As always, though, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I do hope you guys did enjoy this update. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very, very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community where we'll be posting all of the new stuff once 11.1 PTR gets even more additional data mining or finally hits the PTR realms for us to test all of the new stuff arriving in this update. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.
Good. Nice video. What is it, Sam? You want Mythic Plus to be easy, and you don't even run Mythic Plus that much. Well, that's like what came first, the chicken or the egg. There's a reason why I don't run Mythic Plus that much this season. Because it's too difficult. Okay, it's not the other way around. If you look at my every season before this season, I did way more Mythic Plus. In fact, previous seasons, I did multiple Mythic Plus dungeons every single week. I got Keystone Master like very early in previous seasons and never waited this long to get it, and it's because I'm just not enjoying this season. It's way too much. It takes too much out of me. I don't have that much in me anymore. Okay? I have a wife and 4 kids. There's only so much energy I have left to give to World of Warcraft. Now, I'm a degenerate, so I'm going to give whatever I can to it. But when it comes to Mythic Plus, to sit down and that intensely sweat to the point where I got to fucking put a towel under my ass because I'm going to drench my chair, it's too much. It's too much. I don't want to deal with it. That's why I don't do it that much. I play this game just to have fun. I'm not going to do shit that I don't find fun. So if the season was more fun to me, I'll be doing it a lot more. That's hot. Yeah, smelly chair. Well, it's a cloth chair too, so you can it'll get swampy real quick in here. But nice video from Dalaran.